Yeah, I nearly got killed in a helicopter in the Philippines on Ringo's first movie.
Feel free to share that. Hey guys, welcome to part one of my interview with Ross Clarkson, cinematographer and director. Now, he shot them all. He's worked with Steven Seagal, John Claude Van Damme, Jason Statham, Scott Adkins, Michael Jai White, Dolph Lundgren, and more. And we're going to get some cool stories related to those guys. But in part one of the interview, he's going to tell us how he got started in filmmaking and how it almost ended very quickly when he almost got killed on a Ringo Lam film. So make sure to stay until the end to hear that part of the story. Let's get your story. How did you get involved in the film world? Because you've been doing it for like over 30 years now.
I hate to think how long it has been. I started working at a TV station when I was 18 in Brisbane in Australia as a trainee editor the week after I left high school.
Oh, wow.
So,
Immediately after high school. Crazy.
no, the week after.
That's what I'm
Because
saying. You got in that right away.
who is it? My guidance counselor. I had a meeting with that person, and they said, "Oh, what would you like to do?" And I said, "Oh, well, I want to be a news cameraman." And they said, "Right, well, we don't know anything about that, but looking at your grades, have you thought about joining the railways or the army?" And I went, no." So, thanks a lot. See you later. Bye. I spent all my school holidays doing my own work experience, going up to the TV stations. And just as I was leaving school, they were switching over from film to video. So they were hiring more people because back then it was a camera, a cable, and someone had to hold the recorder. And while you hold the recorder, do the sound as well.
Sure.
So there were four jobs open, and I got one.
Wow.
And the news editor said, or he said, would you like a job? And I said, do you want to look at my school report? He goes, no, it doesn't matter. I said, oh, thank God for that.
That's funny. Um, so how long were you doing like the news stuff before you actually got into feature films?
Oh, I was doing it for 6 or 8 years because then after doing news, then they started to do corporate videos as the camera prices dropped and it sort of, we're going back to all the old stuff. And then they opened the studios on the Gold Coast in Australia, the Warner Brother Village Roadshow Studios. And I was freelance at this time, and I went down and I saw the local production manager, and they're doing the remake of Mission Impossible TV series.
Okay.
And I said, "Oh, look, I'm a local loader and whatever, and give me a call if anything comes up." So about 2 weeks later, they called me up and said, "Okay, we want you to be second loader on second unit." I went, "Great, okay, here's the place and the time." Straight away, I got onto a makeup friend of mine and said, "What does a loader do?" Because I've never touched a film camera in my life.
Mhm.
So, turn up on set, and I was being a bit slow setting up the gear and whatever. And then the main guy said, load up a couple of magazines and I'll see you on set. So I went into a dark room, ripped open a can of film, pulled out some film, figured out how to load the magazine, ended up full time on it.
Hmm.
But in one day, seeing all the equipment and everything, I just realized how much time I was wasting. So that's when it's like, okay, I've got to take this film route.
Okay.
And
So
then,
you worked on the Mission Impossible reboot series. Like that was your first television series you worked on, just loading cameras basically is how you got started?
yes, yeah, yeah, loading the film
All
and
right.
then doing the slate and stuff.
Well, where'd you go from there? Did you just network your way into being like a camera operator on feature films, or how did that happen?
No, well, then I was doing corporate videos and all that type of stuff at the same time. And then Australia is a very small industry. So I started looking around Asia for some work.
Hmm.
And then there was a Chinese actress introduced me to the boss of Salon Films in Hong Kong. And he said, maybe. So I came up and I met him, and he had a townhouse just down the road. And he said I could stay there, but it needs renovation. And I said, okay, well, I'll renovate it for you. So after renovating it for a couple of months, he finally gave me a job. And they were the agents. They were also a huge rental company and the agents for Panavision. So on all my spare time, I was playing with all the camera toys. And then in the first year, I did like 30 commercials for them. And
Hmm.
just the learning curve went up. And I worked for them for 7 years because they kept saying they were going to make films, but they never did.
Hmm.
And I said, well, okay, it's time to sort of move on. Um, and after that, I did an underwater job for a Hong Kong film called Mama Fan Fan. Because then I was also producing commercials and whatever and bring them to Australia to shoot. And they heard I'd done some underwater stuff, and that's when I met Ringo Lamb. And I
Okay.
did the underwater scenes for Full Alert. And then Ringo, who did live up the road from me. I mean, he's passed away now,
Sure.
but he called me up one day and said, "Come and have a chat." And he said, "Do you want to shoot my next film?" And I went, "Well, to be honest, I haven't shot a film before." And he said, "Well, have a go." So I
Wow.
did, and that was it. And that was the end of that, really. So I
Which
did
which movie was that?
The Suspect with
Okay,
Lewis
because I know you
Koo.
worked on a couple of the Ringo Lamb Van Damme movies.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
first one was Replicant in Canada. That's where I first met Van Damme, and I got on well with him. Then he took me to Israel and Bulgaria, and that's where I hooked up with the Millennium guys, and they kept bringing me back to
Wow.
work
So it
there.
really kind of started with Ringo Lamb, who introduced you to Van Damme, and you guys hit it off, and then
Yeah,
got hooked up with the Millennium guys. I know you worked with Isaac Florentine quite a bit and all these other guys.
yeah. I nearly got killed in a helicopter in the Philippines on Ringo's first movie.
Feel free to share that.
In in I've actually got some clips of The Suspect. It's very hard to sort of find. Um, we'd shut down the bridge in Manila, going into Chinatown, and to shut down the bridge for a couple of days, actually they dealt with the triads instead of the government because they were more efficient. And we've got two helicopters circling around. We've got guns blowing up, cars blowing up, machine gun fire all over the place. And Lewis Koo, the good guy, he jumps into the river, which is pitch black. You just don't want to go there. And then we drop a 40-foot rope ladder out of the helicopter, pick him up, and fly into the sunset. And we've done this a few times, and Ringo just wanted to do it one more time. And we'd always pulled the helicopter in sideways and parked it next to the river. This time the pilot decides to hook around, catches the rope ladder on a fence. Now we're nose diving into the river. Luckily, he's pulled the brakes on just before we hit it. There's a guy on the other side of the helicopter who only had a rope around him. He's gone out. I've gone into the pilot seat and I've got some strange harness on, and I'm suddenly trying to figure out how to unhook myself because I don't want to drown. And once we've sort of reversed back up, I've gone outside the other side to have a look to actually see where the other dude landed because I thought he was gone, and he's smacked into the skids. He's done like 4 ribs, and he was a large guy, so I couldn't pull him in. It says like, I'll just hang out here and talk to you until we can come down.
Yeah.
More action than the movie.
Wow, that could have been
Everyone's
your career right there, man. Just starting off with Ringo and that's it. Over. That your story could have been over.
everyone's standing on the bridge screaming their heads off and whatever. It's like, yeah, you should have been in the helicopter. And then when we get down, Ringo says, "Ah, oh, the pilot, very good." And it's like he
Thank
forgot
God.
about that. bladder.